yes. I thought it's Wednesday morning, it's 7 a.m. and I don't know, you're probably like me. If you've got something to do in the shed or the workshop, you can't wait to get back out because we're gluttons for punishment. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a little Zed update. I did mention in the previous short catch-up that I'd cut the sealing boots off the HT leads, etc., and they now fit a lot better. I'm just in the process of putting it all back together. I haven't ran it. The idea being, I've ordered another airbox off of eBay. The whole lot was 30 quid, and I thought, do you know what, we'll take a punt, because I have a sneaking suspicion that where the airbox joins the carby tinkles down here, there is an air gap. Now, I've tried altering the position slightly of the carbs and stuff like that to get the airbox to seat a little bit better. It has improved it, but I do have suspicions there might be still a slight air gap which may give us running troubles. So I thought, for 30 quid I'll have a punt on another airbox and just see if it fits any better. Anyway, in the meantime, because I like taking bits apart and putting them back together again and apart again, and I'm I'm just putting up the Zed basically. And one of the things I'm probably going to do while everything's off is to this is the right hand indicator bulb, chop this shit off. I think somebody's tried to Street Fighter it, and I'm going to put a proper plug on, you know, so there's none of this shittery happening, because like this is the headlight, look, you know, the proper connectors are not difficult to find these days. Even when this bike, probably, I don't really know much history about this bike. It's had 6 owners. I'm guessing at some point one of them has gone down the road, hence the red respray. There is some damage to the front mudguard as well, but see, it's covered all the back of the clocks up with this revolting fake Kevlar. It really is horrible. It's so horrible I might just leave it on. The horn's been replaced. That horn is ultra loud. It's superb. But it's like these have been chopped, stuff like that. So I'm wondering if somebody tried to fighter it, and then later on somebody else has decided to put the bodywork on, because obviously these brackets are not Kawasaki. You know, they're like hardware specials. I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're functional, and when the fairing's on, you don't see them at all. You wouldn't know they were there. But I know they're there, and I'm on the cusp now of either it being extremely effing irritating or get on with it. And I'm sort of in the get on with it camp at the minute. The main goal, get it running properly first, and then we'll worry about buggeration. So yes, I had the water pump. I had a slight leak from the God, I'm tripping up. What am I tripping up? Oh, I'm tripping up a drill. Nice. I had a slight leak from the bottom rad hose, and where it had joined the water pumpage. Just expert camera work. I could make documentaries. Really could. I could make documentaries on how not to fix bikes. There was some corrosion around the pipe mouth, basically on the pump. So I cleaned that up. And what happens is you get corrosion forming on the alloy, and it's like rust jacking. Basically, the corrosion expands the pipe, expands the pipe, and expands the pipe, and eventually it leaks. And that's what's happened. It wasn't a leak, but I'd come back in after overnight, and there'd be a little puddle of coolant on the floor, which was confusing because I thought I'd probably cocked up the plumbing on the carburetors, but that's all good. Got to put the fuel line on, and then I'm just going to rebuild it. Just put the bodywork on, because I do like to see it with its bodywork on. It's motorcycles are they're a lot like women. Yes, they're fun to undress, but some of them, you know, look stunning with their clothes on. Anyway, so that's about it really. I've got the where's my little snarkle look. Stuff like these intake systems are dirt cheap. Oh, should I have a little bit more? Oh, yeah, that made a massive difference, didn't it? They are dirt cheap. You can get like the whole plenum set for 20-30 quid. There is no shortage of them because obviously the ZZR was a well-selling bike. But where the pricks put, where the last or one of the last owners has put these leather fucking bondage fucking bracelets on the intake, I've just got a pair of the proper snout covers that go into the fairing with the mesh on, for the sake of about a tenner. So I've got those coming. I've got the airbox coming. Spares are not thin on the ground. Used spares are not thin on the ground for these, which is good. So yeah, it'll get there eventually, but goal number one, just get it running sweet. But I think the airbox is part of the issue, because it has been buggered about with. None of these bolts are standard. You know, they're like that fucking long. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to swear there, children. The cunts are this long. Anyway, so the airbox has been buggered about with. Probably at some point somebody has tried to run pod filters or something like that. These do not run on pod filters, well, not very well at all. The forums are full of, you must run the ram air system, basically it boils down to. I've got to put the coolant back in. It takes 2.5 litres. I'm going to try and get the oil filter off, and I think I can do it if I just swing the oil cooler out of the way, hopefully, fingers fucking crossed, because it's got an aftermarket exhaust on it. It's got a full micron on it, and it's a little bit cheeky, but not too cheeky. So it is a race system, but it's not obnoxious, unlike the owner. So I think I can get the oil filter out of the way. I have got an oil filter. Makes sense to dump the oil. It looks over full in the sight glass, but this has been sitting about 18 months. So there is a chance, if the fuel tap's been left on, for example, that we have a little bit of petroleum in the oil. Haven't smelt it yet, so that's going to be done anyway regardless. So that's about where I am. The Aprilia is outside at the moment. I've shoved her outside. That will be my steed of choice on Sunday. Charlie, the white steed, Stevie's little baby. That's enough of that. So yes, there's a breakfast run on Sunday to Measham, and there's a few of us going, I think. So we'll see. But the Aprilia will be the steed for that, and I've got a new pillion, which I'm looking forward to. Yes. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave this bit here because, you know, I think this bit's done, don't you? Oh, coffee. Flavoured coffee today, cinnamon. Yes. Yes. So anyway, I'll get cracked on, and then I'll probably just take a little film of it with its knickers on. Nice. Ooh, yes. I've just refilled, or in the process of refilling, the coolant system on the ZZR, and so far no leaks other than what I've spilt on the floor. Standard practice. I turned the fuel to reserve. There should be enough fuel in it. Yeah, well, that's debatable because I actually took some out to put in Phyllis, so there probably isn't enough fuel in it to get past the petcocks. There's two, one higher in the tank for normal and one lower in the tank. There's actually two separate feeds, which is unusual. So anyway, I did notice when I opened the fuelolium sealant cap device that there was a sucking sound, and that usually means that the vents in the cap are blocked. Now, when I first got the bike, these vents were blocked, and you can probably see the remnants of what was blocking it there. It's just a bit of alley corrosion, surface corrosion, but it had blocked these up. So anyway, I've took the two screws off, And what I'm going to do is obviously take the rubber out. Don't put rubber in the aqua jiggler because it swells it, especially if you use high temperature, like I'm using 70 degrees or something like that. Don't do that because it'll swell all the rubber up and they won't fit again, so take the rubbers off. But basically I'm going to give this part a bath, which is the actual latch. There's nothing to it. That peg goes into that little thing there where the spring is, and that is what opens your latch. But it does require a breathy hole. Now I can see through that, so it suggests that the blockage is actually further up. So I'm going to disassemble this and then just chuck everything in the old aqua jiggler and give it a bath. Because what happens is, if the fuel cap or your fuel vent on the tank can't breathe, it leads to fuel starvation. The pump will overcome some of it, but not all of it. The pump is only sort of rated to 3 bar, which is not very high at all, and this will easily overcome it. So if one of the symptoms is the bike will run, it'll start fine and it will run for perhaps a few seconds, maybe a minute, and then it will conk. And then if you leave it a while, it will start and it will conk, and it will start and it will conk. And it's usually almost 187 million% of the time the vent, because obviously as the fluid level tries to lower, it has to suck air in to replace it, and if it can't suck air in, it hangs the level, so you get basically it overcomes the gravity. So Jim, stop it, just strip it, just clean it. Not had breakfast yet, it's not good enough. I've just sat on the Aprilia and turned the camera on. Silly boy. Right, one fuel cap all rebuilt and all that buggery. And we'll see. I'll start about getting bodywork back on it. I really do. I need to clean the bottom of the fairing inside, because where the little coolant leak's been, it's grunged up anyway, so we'll do it. Plenum. I've got the boots coming. The airbox arrived today, but I'm going to see how we get on with this one first. But I should probably end up changing it. And as far as I can see, no coolant leak under the bike. This is good. I seem to have a thing with leaks with motorcycles. And yes, there's a drill in the drill driver, because let me just show you. Phyllis needs some very minor repairs. As you probably noticed, the screen has gone. Crackage, and that, as far as I can see, is it. Uncle Barnyard had a bit of an off on Saturday, and I didn't post anything, you know, because the old boy's embarrassed enough. Basically, he lost it on a manhole cover and dropped the bike, but you know, it's rideable, it's good. It just I'm going to put a cable tie stitch in it to make it look like a full-on GP race machine. Yes. Yes, Phyllis is having some cable tie stitches. Yes. Well, me and Mr. Michael and Mr. Vincent have just been out for a lovely little ride. I'll show you some footage, because I had the camera on the Aprilia. I took the Aprilia out and we went to Huggy's, where we had a bacon burger and a mug of tea for £4. Bang on. It was really, really good. And then we went from there, we went up to the Superbike shop at Donington, just for a mooch around, have a look at some bikes and what have you, and then we comes back And so I thought, bugger it, I'll have an hour in the shed and I'll just patch the fairing up on Phyllis, because Phyllis doesn't have to be spot on. And then to just stop the fairing rattling about. I was going to super glue it, but in my experience, super glue on fairings, ABS plastic and stuff doesn't work very well. And then what I might do is take Phyllis out and then start just replacing the bodywork and stuff on the Zed. Or I might go and abuse myself. Who knows? Weather permitting, we should be going Measham tomorrow to the Pot Kiln Farm bite meat, breakfast meat. And the good thing about it, it's not one of them bite meats where you gotta come on a bike and all that lot. You can turn up on you can turn up on a skateboard if you want to. It's the fact that you're there is important. So yes, rain or shine, we shall be there tomorrow, because if it's pissing down, I'll take the car, but it gets you out of the house for now, doesn't it? So yes, so nice little ride out today, and now I'll leave you with some footage. top level editing. I do quite like posting raw footage because then you sort of know what you're getting. Just as an end to this video, I've got the Zed running. Got the ZZR running. It's got to come around basically. It's not bad. It revs like a bar steward. It's still a bit woolly just off idle, but I haven't checked. About the only thing I've done on the carbs, and I should have done when they were off, was check the needle height, just in case anybody's lifted it, because like I say, it's got the full micron on it, so somebody may have just lifted the needles. As soon as it's cleared through idle, once it's cleared 2,500-3,000 revs, it goes like a bencher. That needle goes all the way around, revs lovely, and seems to run quite clean. So I'm going to leave it as it is at the minute, but I did notice, I put some pictures on Facebook as well, that there's only enough fuel in it to sort of run the reserve tap, and the goal was to get it running off its own fuel supply. And I thought, it's hardly coming out at all. So I've had a look under the tank, took the tank off and had a look, and somebody's put just a bit of normal hose, fuel hose, there, and it's kinked, because how it has to route, Mr. Route, is from the bottom of the tank up to the tap, and the actual pipe from Kawasaki is like a little loop, so it takes the kink out, and the pipe's only a tenner, brand new, still available, so I've ordered it. What else? Oh yeah, I dropped the oil. I got it warm enough to drop the oil, just sort of like cup of tea warm, just get the sludge out. And I noticed in the sight glass it looked a bit over full, and I've just drained it, and I've got a 6 litre drain pan, which will do just about any motorcycle, and it's nearly to the top, because I do believe the fuel tap was left on while it was being stored, so it did smell a bit petrol-y, but not too much, but it didn't smell like nice clean oil. But I've got some oil, so that'll be going in tomorrow at some point. And I've got a fill tray up there actually, but I think I've got to swing, I've said before, I think I've got to swing the oil core out of the way to get to it. So that's about it. So I just thought I'd end this video with a little explanation of what else has been going on. I've cable tied Phyllis, that looks alright, and then the fuel I've took out the Zed tank, which was fresh fuel that I put in, I filled Phyllis up with, and then if anybody wants to use her tomorrow to go to Measham, beautiful hair, they can do. So that's it for this one. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, etc. And I hope you enjoyed the tiny little 4-minute ride section. All I literally did was put the GoPro on the handlebars. I've got no intention of sort of doing a video, so that's just a clip of that, and that's just the little ride coming out of Hinkley into Huggies. So yeah, see you on the next one. Press the button, Jim.